They say 10 tigers can't beat one lion. They believe tigers are the embodiment of evil, while lions are symbols of justice. But Tam didn't think so. To prove tigers were the king of beasts, Tam was reborn as a fat tiger in a zoo. Despite zookeepers constantly feeding him daily, he refused every bite, frantically losing weight. Because in 6 months, solar flares would erupt. All creatures would mutate into terrifying monsters. In his past life, 2 king-level mutant beasts appeared in the zoo. A crocodile mutated into a giant dragon croc. A chimpanzee mutated into an abomination mandrill. But other animals became their food before mutating. Tam thought if he wanted to leave here alive, he must strike first. So he had to eliminate them before they mutated. You know, tigers are the king of beasts. This crocodile and gorilla were no match for Tam. But currently, one big problem lay before him. The zoo food was too good. Tam's body was too obese. 100 days until mutation. Tam decided to start losing weight from today. At 10 a.m., zookeeper Turner carried a large basin of chicken legs into the zoo. That was Tiger's favorite food. Tam always ate it all, but this time, he turned his head away, not even glancing. Turner was stunned, tentatively pushing the meat basin forward. Tam directly turned and walked away. With no choice, Turner could only pause feeding. Tam began exercise weight loss. Though the zoo wasn't large, it was enough for Tam to run back and forth. He charged from one end to the other, over and over. Fat jiggled on his body. Each step was incredibly heavy, but Tam gritted his teeth and persisted. When tired from running, he climbed that artificial fake tree, using front claws to grip the trunk, forcibly dragging himself up. For current Tam, this was simply torture. More and more tourists gathered to watch. But Tam didn't care what humans thought. During training breaks, Tam's gaze crossed the fence, locking onto 2 targets. First, the bent-nosed crocodile in the reptile house. It was a full 5 meters long, lying on the fake mountain sunbathing all day. In his past life, this guy mutated into Dragon Croc. Scales hard as iron, crunching 3 mutant wolves in one bite. He was the #1 threat Tam must eliminate. Second, the chimpanzee in the primate area. Don't look at how he only begs tourists for bananas now. After mutation, he'd become Abomination Mandrill, immensely strong with high intelligence. In his past life, he slaughtered the entire bird section. These 2 beasts must be killed before mutation. Tam silently counted down in his heart, 99 days until doomsday. Tam believed as long as he persisted, he'd definitely restore his fierce tiger nature. But just then, he noticed a crocodile was staring at him intently. Clearly, Tam had been marked as prey. For this, Tam began training frantically. Shuttle runs increased from 10 sets to 50, then doing pull-ups on tree trunks. Of food sent by keepers, Tam only ate 1/3, specifically picking lean meat and organs. All those fatty chicken legs completely ignored. The director panicked, thinking I was sick, even calling a vet to examine me. Result? Nothing wrong at all. Numbers on the scale dropped madly. From 320 pounds down to 250. Belly fat disappeared. Muscle definition reappeared. I could feel that long-lost explosive power returning to my body. Morning of day 21. Tam stood by the water pool. That fat tiger was gone. In its place was a lean, strong beast. Tam tried pouncing. His speed more than doubled. Good. Time to act. Tam began observing patrol patterns. Security made rounds at 11 p.m. and 3 a.m. nightly. Surveillance cameras covered most areas, but there was a blind spot. Old wire fence on the volcano's west side. And that fence had long been corroded. Tam had secretly tested it with claws these days. Just needed force to tear through. The opportunity came on night 25. Heavy rain arrived on schedule, thunder roaring. In this weather, surveillance systems most easily malfunction. Security wouldn't check either. 2 a.m. Tam moved. Using thunder as cover, Tam slammed his full weight against that fence. Corroded wire snapped on impact. Tam squeezed through. Like a black shadow, he crossed the zoo, heading straight for the reptile house. The crocodile's pool was in the outdoor area. Right now, he should be resting underwater. Tam slipped into the water silently. Soon he saw that massive creature. The crocodile lay motionless at the bottom. Must kill in one strike. Tam took a deep breath and dove down. Just as he prepared to attack, that crocodile suddenly opened its eyes. It had been awake all along. No time to think. Tam lunged, biting its neck fiercely. The crocodile struggled madly, nearly breaking free. Now Tam's lungs neared their limit, but he knew he couldn't let go. The crocodile tried surfacing. Tam dragged it down desperately. After 3 minutes of struggle, the crocodile finally stopped moving. Then Tam dragged the crocodile to the surface. Thunder still roared. No one discovered what happened here. Tam used claws to leave scratches on the crocodile, rubbing bloodstains on poolside rocks, faking it as if it climbed ashore and fell to death. After finishing, Tam swiftly returned to Tiger Mountain, making the fence look untouched again. By next morning, screams came from the reptile house. Tam looked through the bars. Several staff members were gathered around the crocodile pool discussing. Sure enough, they hadn't discovered Tam's actions. 75 days until doomsday. Tam's next target was the chimpanzee, and right now that chimpanzee was emitting uneasy low growls from afar toward here. To prove tigers were the king of beasts, Tam was reborn as a fat tiger. The first thing he did was eliminate a crocodile. His next target was the gorilla. But now, the chimpanzee had realized the danger. The crocodile's death triggered a chain reaction. The next day, the director led a team inspecting all facilities, prioritizing security risks. They even pulled surveillance footage. Fortunately, that rainy night, the surveillance system truly malfunctioned. Most footage was static. They could only conclude it was an accident. But the zoo still strengthened security. Patrols increased from 2 to 4 times. New cameras were installed in every facility. Even Tam's blind spot was covered. More troubling, keepers began closely monitoring each animal's condition. The director observed outside Tam's enclosure for half an hour daily. Next action must be more careful. What unsettled Tam most was that chimpanzee. Named Parker, the zoo's star, communicating with keepers using sign language. intelligence equivalent to a 5-year-old child. Since the crocodile's death, he'd become exceptionally irritable. Whenever Tam passed the path near the primate area, he'd charge to the glass wall, frantically pounding. That gaze filled with vigilance and hostility. Parker sensed Tam's danger. If he continued making such noise, Tam would eventually attract attention. He must make everyone believe he was just an ordinary tiger. So Tam began acting, refusing food, lying in the corner motionless all day. The director panicked, quickly calling a vet. But after a morning's commotion, all indicators were normal. The doctor judged it might be an emotional issue, but because tigers can get depressed too. Tam cooperatively showed weakness, even standing shakily. The director cared deeply, especially preparing the finest beef, even placing new toys in the cage. Tam ate a few bites, then continued feigning illness. This trick worked well. A week later, everyone believed Tam was just emotionally down. Even the director no longer focused on him. Security guards in the monitoring room, seeing Tam's footage, only glanced before switching elsewhere. Tam seized these opportunities to train frantically. 3 a.m. patrol guards just passed. Tam awoke from feigned sleep. He walked to the enclosure corner where rough concrete walls stood. Tam extended his right claw, forcefully scraping the wall. The sound of nails against concrete was particularly piercing in the silence. He kept grinding until claw tips became sharp as knives. Then Tam practiced pouncing and biting, simulating attacks in air repeatedly, calculating optimal force angles, finding most lethal bite positions. The chimpanzee wasn't a crocodile. Agile, powerful, and intelligent. Tam must achieve one-hit kill, giving him no chance to counterattack. Feigning illness by day, training by night. Tam pushed himself to the limit. 60 days until doomsday. That evening, he lay in his enclosure, feigning sleep as usual, suddenly hearing commotion from the primate area. Parker was going mad. He'd smashed decorations on the glass wall, torn tire toys to shreds, even attacked keepers trying to calm him. Tam looked through the bars, locking eyes with Parker. Across hundreds of meters, he bared fangs toward Tam, emitting low growls. That was a declaration of war. Naturally, Tam feared nothing. He only needed the right moment now. To prove tigers were the king of beasts, Tam was reborn as a fat tiger. He first killed a crocodile in the zoo, then turned his target to a gorilla. But now, Tam needed to wait for an opportunity, because the distance between them was far. That day, zoo visitor numbers had exceeded 5,000, and suddenly heavy rain fell from the sky. Security was busy maintaining order, completely unable to mind the monitoring room. Tam saw only one on-duty person at the monitoring room window, still looking down at his phone. This was the best moment. Tam walked to the glass curtain wall, a 5-centimeter thick tempered glass, supposedly able to withstand 1 ton of impact. But Tam knew its weakness. In his past life when doomsday erupted, this glass cracked from the lower left corner because the fixing bolt there had long been loose. Tam only needed to find the right position. With enough force to strike, it would shatter. Tam retreated 10 steps, lowering his body into a pouncing posture. Tourists thought he was performing. The next moment, Tam's entire body tensed. Then he charged out fiercely. 300 pounds of weight plus full-speed running impact. Tam slammed into the glass curtain wall like a cannonball, targeting lower left corner. The massive impact sound shook the entire venue. Spiderweb cracks appeared on the glass, spreading from the impact point outward. Tam didn't stop, continuing to strike the glass. The crowd began panicking. Parents picked up children and ran outside. The scene instantly lost control. Security rushed over, shouting into walkie-talkies. "Prepare tranquilizer guns quickly." By Tam's 4th strike, the glass finally couldn't withstand. The entire wall collapsed thunderously. Tam burst out. Everyone was fleeing for their lives. But he didn't attack anyone. Instead, directly leaping over the crowd, charging toward his pre-planned route. Shouts from security and alarm sounds came from behind, but Tam completely ignored them. Soon he rushed into the park's interior. The primate area interior was a massive indoor venue. Tam stopped, vigilantly surveying his surroundings. Suddenly, a low growl came from overhead. Tam jerked his head up, seeing Parker crouching on a 5-meter-high tree branch. Its physique was larger than Tam imagined. Parker still gripped an iron rod in his hand. A prop keepers used to train it, now used as a weapon. Parker emitted a deafening roar. That was the final warning. Tam also let out a roaring sound, echoing in the enclosed venue. Urgent footsteps came from afar, security personnel rushing over with tranquilizer guns. Tam didn't have much time left. He arched his body, tail stiff, ready for battle. Parker leapt down from the tree, landing steadily 10 meters before him. Parker raised the iron rod, assuming attack stance. King of Beast versus Primate Overlord. This battle, fight to the death. To prove tigers were the king of beasts, Tam was reborn as a zoo tiger. His second target was killing this gorilla. Parker launched the first attack. He swung like a warrior wielding a battle axe, smashing toward Tam's head. Tam could feel that terrifying power. He dodged sideways. The iron rod struck the ground. The concrete floor instantly shattered. Even without mutation, Parker's strength was enough to crush skulls. Tam absolutely couldn't be hit. Parker didn't pause, swinging the rod to continue attacking. Tam suddenly lunged at him, claws viciously scratching Parker's thigh, tearing open a bloody gash. Parker let out an enraged roar, backhanding the rod toward Tam's spine. Fortunately, at the critical moment, Tam rolled away. The rod grazed past his fur, nearly struck. This was pure close combat. Then Parker threw away the iron rod. He realized weapons were actually burdens in this close-quarters fight. Parker spread his arms, revealing thick muscles on his body. He wanted the most primitive way to fight Tam to the death. Tam tried finding openings. Parker also turned, always keeping his front facing. He wasn't an ordinary beast. He could think and judge. Tam's movement stalled for over 10 seconds. He suddenly accelerated, feigning attack on the enemy's left side. Parker immediately defended, but this was exactly what Tam wanted. He stopped abruptly mid-motion, changing direction. This time, Tam bit his shoulder. Parker howled in pain, grabbing Tam's neck with both hands. Tam felt breathing become difficult, but he didn't release his bite, teeth deeply piercing Parker's muscles. Parker frantically shook his body. Then he grabbed Tam's hind leg, forcefully slamming him to the ground. Tam's internal organs nearly shattered, but he still wouldn't release, because Tam knew releasing meant death. Then Parker's strength began declining. Blood loss slowed his movements. Tam seized this opportunity, instantly biting toward his throat. This was the king of beasts' killing technique. Tam's fangs pierced his windpipe. Parker's eyes bulged wide, hands weakly slapping Tam's body. Clearly his throat was torn. Parker's struggles grew weaker, finally collapsing limply to the ground. Tam released his mouth, gasping heavily. Covered in injuries, ribs possibly broken several, but he won. Both major king-level mutant beast threats completely eliminated. Just then, urgent footsteps came from the doorway. Tam turned his head, seeing 3 security guards rushing in with tranquilizer guns. He wanted to escape, but his body had reached its limit. The first tranquilizer dart hit Tam's hind leg. The drug took effect quickly. Tam's vision began blurring, but at this moment, a sinister red glow appeared at the sky's edge. Over 50 days until Doomsday remained. Solar flares shouldn't erupt now, but Tam's rebirth might have changed history, causing the timeline to shift.